Fáilte. My name is Andrew Healy and I'm a lover and drinker of Irish whiskey. I'm on a journey of discovery to learn as much as I can about the great spirit of the Emerald Isle. Along that journey, I'm lucky enough to meet other people who are passionate about Irish whiskey, and the My Favourite Irish podcast is their story and their favourite Irish whiskey. Whether that's their current favourite, their first ever dram, or one that has a special place in their life. On today's episode, I got to spend some time recently with my dear friend Kevin Dowling, who's also known as Kildare Kev. And we talked about Kev, his Irish-Mexican ancestry, and of course his favourite Irish whiskey, which is Green Spot. Listen along. Fáilte Arash, welcome back to the bar. Finally, I have Kildare Kev at the bar with me. I've been wanting to get you here for months, Kevin. And here we are with, oh, here it is. Out it comes. You're going to cover your Dublin blue with, with your lily white
This is
jersey.
vintage. This is from a ways back, but yeah, the Kildare.
So we've got you at the bar. We've got half a bottle of your favourite Irish.
That's right.
And we're going to have a chat.
Sure.
Thanks for taking the time to come to the bar. So Kevin Dowling, obviously a very Irish name, but you're probably the least Irish looking person that we've had on My Favourite Irish. So where's the ancestry?
Yeah, I get you don't look like a Kevin Dowling a lot. So my dad is from Kildare, Monastrevin, Kildare. And then my mother's Mexican-American. Okay. So there's 6 of us in the family.
So I'm going to guess a little bit of Catholicism in there?
The Irish Catholic. It's actually not that uncommon a mix. The Irish-Mexican mix isn't that uncommon. There's 6 of us in our family, and 3 came out more white, more Irish looking, and then 3 came out darker, more Mexican looking. And I was one of the darker ones.
So you got what could be referred to as looking like the Black Irish.
That's right, the Black Irish. Yeah. That's what it was.
And I know your brother Mike back in 2012.
That's right.
That's a long time ago now. He came to our TEDx Napa Valley event here.
Yeah.
And he's definitely got the Irish genes in the family.
Yeah. So he's lighter with brown hair, but him and my brother Shane, the same. They get they'll get a red whisk, like in their eyebrow, or they'll get the red hair a little bit. Okay. So it comes out. Okay, and I've
known you for, goodness, it's at least 10 years.
At least 10 years. Well, I moved here in 2011. I think I met you in my first few months here. So
I remember the first time we met, we had a coffee down at Oxbow.
At the Oxbow, yeah.
It was meant to be a kind of a half-hour coffee, get to know each other. It didn't lead into like a 5 o'clock drink, but we were there for at least a couple of hours.
I remember it led into rugby pretty quick. Some pretty good soccer stories there, so lost track of time on that one.
Yeah, and then ever since then, we have had an annual tradition where we go for a pint at Christmas.
That's right, at least a pint, but
yeah. We've done it. We've done it at all sorts of venues here in town. We started at a kind of grimace when I say this now, down at Bilco's downtown.
I remember the first one was at Bilco's. Yeah,
we've did it a number of times at Hop Creek, just down the road from us.
That's right.
And then last year, I think we went down to, did we go down to one of the breweries downtown?
It was, just outside the Oxbow. I think it's the new field work, just outside the Oxbow. Yeah. Really nice place.
Yeah, so a tradition that obviously we'll do again this year. So it's been obviously fun seeing your kids grow up. You've seen my kids grow up.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe your eldest is now off in college.
He's at first year in college now.
My eldest is apparently gainfully employed. So it's been, I remember when I first met you, neither of us had grey hair. Now we both have grey hair.
I don't know if it comes out on camera or not, but it's definitely there.
And I have to say a big thank you to you for, I remember a number of years back, I helped you and Maria move. It was a sweltering day. You moved from Alta Heights on the east side over here to the west side, helped you move. And a few days later, you arrived with a thank you.
That's right.
And it was a bottle of Jameson's Black Barrel. So long before I started this journey, we were obviously on the whiskey front. So.
That's right, yeah. I figured that was a good gift to give to another Irish guy to help me move, so I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, looks like you've expanded your collection quite a bit.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Yeah, so it's been a fun few months on the journey, obviously, built the bar to accommodate all this and slowly making my way through it. So back to your dad. Monastrevin.
That's right.
But you're born and raised here in California.
Berkeley, East Bay.
Okay.
So he came over. My dad was the oldest of 16. They're in Monastrevin, and which is on the far west of Kildare, almost right on the border with Laois. He came over as a priest. It was right around the late 50s, early 60s, I think, and he came over to Boston first. and then I think he was in Minnesota, and then ended up in Los Angeles, where he left the priesthood, and then met my mom down there. And
So did he leave the priesthood before he met your mum, or did he meet your mum and then leave the priesthood?
I'm not sure the sequence involved in that, but that's another fairly, since I thought it was really unique. But I have a good friend whose dad, similar story from Cary, came over from Cary as a priest, left the priesthood, and actually I've met another guy since then, similar story.
So this kind of, go west, young man.
That's right.
Land of opportunity. We're not just talking about, money making opportunity. Obviously, your dad fell in love with your mum,
Right.
And here we are today.
That's right. He moved up to the Bay Area where he liked the weather a bit better than LA, and that's where we settled.
Reminds you a bit more of the Emerald Isle.
Yeah, exactly. The fog. I think it's the fog. Yeah.
So raised in the East Bay, and you've ended up here in Napa.
That's right.
And for work, you and I both kind of are in and out of the wine business, but you're more in the wine business than I am right now.
That's right. I work at a wine company called Duckhorn Wine Company. I've been there for about just under 6 years now in the marketing department. So love it here in Napa.
And what do you do for them in
So I'm the vice president of trade marketing. So for those that don't know, in the wine industry, there's a number of different steps you have to go through to get wine into the market, and going through the trade, the distributor level, and going through the retailer level is one. So I manage marketing for that whole channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And kind of the last couple of years have been through a pandemic. How's it been?
It's been really good, actually. We were fortunate enough that on the family side, the boys were old enough, teenagers, they could do the Zoom on their own. My wife's a teacher. She could teach on her own. On the work side, we did really well in pandemic. People drink a ton of wine during the pandemic. Jeez. If we would have made more sparkling, we could have made more sparkling wine. We couldn't have kept it. People were going through that like crazy. But we survived the pandemic really well, kind of came out really strong out of the pandemic, both on the family and the work front. So.
And you're back to it now, I know, because trying to squeeze you into my schedule was...
Yeah.
Because you're off around the country.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm off to Phoenix, then Utah after that. After that, then Kansas City, and then Texas, and then New York right around Thanksgiving. So the next 2 months are going to be pretty travel heavy.
I'm glad I got you before you.
No, this is awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, so, and you mentioned your wife, Maria.
Sure.
She's Mexican.
She's Mexican,
Again,
yeah.
So obviously there's something about these Dowling men. Mexican.
Well, what's cool, I don't know if you remember what's cool. Maria, she loves, she gets along with my family in Ireland really well. And my boys are obviously really proud to be part Irish as well. And they don't really like when I make them watch the soccer. We're not too good in soccer now, so they get pretty bored with the soccer games. But if you remember the first time you came over for St. Patty's, she made potato enchiladas. That's right. Yeah. And I never had those before, but they were really good. And in fact, she shows, because she works at a bilingual school, most of her students are bilingual. She'll show them Darby O'Gill around St. Patrick's. That was a family tradition of ours to watch Darby O'Gill around St. Patrick's. So she's embraced it quite a bit, which is good. Yeah.
And then over the years, you and I, we've done a few things together. We've obviously watched each other's kids play sports.
Sure.
We've tried to play a bit of golf ourselves. We went down to Vallejo for the Leprechaun Open this year.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I was proud to say that a team of four, we came last.
Did we come in last?
Yeah. Great morning.
I think we were honest with the score, though. I'm not sure everybody else was honest with the scoring.
March, obviously in Ireland is a rough time to play golf. It wasn't a great morning this year. It was pretty chilly.
It was pretty chilly. I think it was drizzling a little bit at the beginning.
By the time we came through the turn at about 10 o'clock, there was definitely a Jemisin's hat.
That was definitely a Jemisin's hat by the turn.
And then we've watched a lot of sport over the years. We've gotten up early in the morning to watch soccer matches and rugby matches, and
that's right. We were streaming the Lions tour at 2 in the morning one time.
From Australia.
Yeah, from Australia. That was right.
Yeah. So we've got a World Cup next year from France, which is going to be. Which I think the kickoffs will be not too bad for us.
No, I think when it's in Europe, the kickoffs aren't too challenging. Like Six Nations, the kickoffs aren't too challenging when it's in Europe. So that's good.
We could go off on a whole other video about our prospects for the World Cup next year, but we'll save that for another time. So, I suppose we should probably talk less and drink more. We're here to talk about your favourite Irish whiskey, which is Green Spot. So for folks who can't see it, it's on the back of the bottle here, it says the 27th of April. So I started my journey in March, got in touch with you, said I had this idea for videos, and you said, well, my favourite's Green Spot.
That's right, yeah.
Out I went, bought a bottle, tasted a little bit of it, then got sick again, and came back to it a few months later, and I found from tasting it in April to July, it was a completely different whiskey. And my first impression, I wasn't wowed by it, but I now am. I now it's a phenomenal whiskey. You know, Redbreast is my go-to, as I think you
Yeah,
like a
that's
bit of
definitely.
Redbreast too.
You're right. Yeah.
So yeah, when I said let's do some my favorite Irish, you said, well, let's go with some Green Spot. So let's give that a try. So it's funny, both of us working in wine. It's a different world tasting whiskey.
You could taste the oak quite a bit more on the. Well, you could taste it in wine too, but when you go wine, then to whiskey, the oak is much more prominent on the. At least for me.
Yeah. What I love about we're not going to do a kind of a tasting game here, but I love the kind of the fresh fruit character that
Sure.
comes through. On
Yeah,
this.
a little bit of citrus on there too. Yeah.
To me, there's a lot of people talk about apples and pears in Green Spot.
Yeah.
And there's definitely some of that
There's
character.
definitely a little Granny Smith in there, a big green apple in there.
Yeah, no, there's not much you can say about it apart from just a great whiskey. I love it.
It is a tiny bit of spice on there, like
Yeah.
a nice little spice overtone to it. But yeah, that's a great whiskey, right?
You talk in terms of being a single pot still whiskey, the spice character comes from the distillation. So
Sure.
that's where it comes from. I remember when I tasted this, you know, a tasting note, I kind of found cloves and black pepper in there.
Yeah.
It really is kind of they're more headed towards winter spice.
Yeah.
For me.
It stays with you a bit too after you've had it.
Yeah.
No, that's really
A
nice.
lovely long finish. So when you're sipping Green Spot at home, how do you drink it? Neat.
Neat. When it's single pot like high end like that, I like to drink it neat and just sip on it for a while. I'll put an ice cube in it from time to time. Some of the other whiskeys as well to kind of cut it a little bit, open up the flavors. Tends to get a little bit more fruity that way. But if it's like me and you and we're just hanging out or just sipping it at home, I'll drink it neat like this. I like it that way.
Yeah, and obviously we talked about Green Spot and Redbreast. Do you have any other bottles at home that are go-to bottles, or?
Those would be the big two. I've had Teelings there a while ago. Tried Powers as well. But Green Spot and Redbreast would be the big two.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's not a secret we can share, but this is $53 a bottle at Target.
Sure, it's not that cheap. Yeah.
But I've seen it in other places for 65 and 70.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know it's. But often, Kev, you know, around here you'll open a bottle of wine that costs 40, 50, 60, and you sell wine.
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
80, 100, 100 and something dollars for a bottle of wine. You're not going to drink a bottle of whiskey in one sitting. Well, I would hope you're not going to drink a bottle of whiskey in one sitting. So it's going to last, you know, a couple of weeks, a month.
The alcohol percent's a little bit higher at whiskey than it is in wine.
Just a touch. So I'm going to drop in just some 5 drops here of that. Here, I'll give you 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a little bit of distilled water, just to see if it kind of opens up the nose. And yeah, I find that the it's almost like there's more peary character coming in now than apple.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of fruit there. It's definitely green fruit.
And here I am jumping ahead of you. And on the palate, I find the spice has mellowed out. And you talk about bringing the fruit out there a moment ago. You're right. Just the fruit's it's almost singing out of the glass.
Yeah, that's nice right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smooth. You're right. It does. The spiciness has a little. It's like when you sip it neat. There's a little cut to it, like a little bit of an aftertaste on the spice. But that mellows out really nice when you cut it with the water.
So you and I, we've chatted a lot, both text and chatted about this tasting, and I thought, you know, we're going to do Green Spot, and, you know, for a little treat for Kev, I'll open, you know, maybe we've got some here, you know, we've got Green Spot Montelena, we've got Green Spot Leopold Barton. I actually brought, you know, I was back in Ireland there recently, got some Gold Spot, but I'm actually going to go one better and all of that, and we've talked about your Mexican-American heritage, so you don't know this is coming, so there you go. Right, hidden back here, Kev. You didn't see this one.
I thought we were going to go step up on Green Spot.
So, you've talked about your Mexican-Irish heritage.
Yeah.
And when you and I chatted on the phone during the week, you mentioned that your brother Mike was considering getting a tattoo.
Another one, yeah.
So Mike served in the Marine Corps.
He was in Iraq, yeah.
And Mike was going to get a tattoo of the the Mexican...
The San Patricio Brigade flag.
Thank you.
That's right, yeah. That's the Irish... During the Mexican-American War, the Irish soldiers that defected from the U.S. Army to fight with the Mexicans.
So you told me that on the phone during the week, and I didn't say anything to you. But I actually have an Irish whiskey that is finished in tequila casks in honor of the Mexican, the San Patricio Brigade.
That's cool.
So brought it back.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I actually, we've had some of the other JJ Curry whiskies,
Sure,
which are fabulous, and I was able to pick this up when we were back recently, and I thought no better place to open it. We've obviously had some already. I thought, yeah, Kev's in the house. Let's
all right,
honor
nice.
his.
That's awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, there's just something I'm going to send you home with some of this as well.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'll keep the bottle, but I'll decant some for you. So yeah, obviously, smaller bottle, a limited edition from JJ Curry, 900 bottles of this. Obviously, a very different whiskey to the Green Spot, but I just thought, but I have a Mexican Irishman in the house, so I need to crack that. So. Yeah, very different whiskey, isn't it?
That is. That's a nice sláinte.
Yeah, sláinte. We didn't do a sláinte the first time.
All right,
around,
we're catching up now. Oh wow, there's not as much like vanilla or caramel as you would have got on the Green Spot there.
Yeah, and obviously, we're comparing chalk and cheese here
Sure.
to a certain extent. This is a beautiful single pot still Irish whiskey. JJ Curry bond, so they actually buy in the spirit, age it in barrels, and this is a blend of, I haven't even looked it up online, so single grain Irish 6-year-old and matured in bourbon casks and finished in the tequila casks.
No, this is really nice.
So I'm going to guess this to me tastes like there's a nice sweetness right on the end, and I'm going to guess that comes from the tequila casks.
It must. I don't know that much about what the flavor from the tequila cask. I don't know what would come off it, but you definitely get a little sweetness here.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for you to say, Andrew, what's next?
Yeah, are there any other surprises? I don't have any other ethnicities in me. I don't know if there's another combination supposed to happen.
Well, because they're to the credit of the distillers and blenders back in Ireland, they're using all sorts of casks to finish it.
And Irish whiskey's booming now, like all over the world. It's such a growing market right now. So you would see that experimentation now and expanding out new directions.
No, it's great. It's great to see it. To their credit, they're making the most of all the opportunities they have.
Sure.
And now it's a great time for Irish whiskey, and obviously you love your Green Spot. I love my Redbreast, but there's a whole world of discovery out there. So, right. Well, we need to finish these off and do it when the world isn't watching or listening to us. So
that's
we
right.
should.
Well, we have the World Cup coming up, the Soccer World Cup coming up here in a month or so. So maybe we'll pick another team to follow.
Yeah. And having just seen the draw for the Euros next year,
I know.
That,
I think we got France and the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I think was it Greece came out of the fourth pot.
You're right. Greece was the other one. So
apparently, it's the certified group of death. So,
although we get a chance to get France back for the Henri.
Yeah, we'll see. We need to let that one go.
Yeah, no kidding. That was a while ago.
Okay, great to have you here.
Thank you, Andrew.
We've talked about it for ages, so great to finally have you. So we'd say Sláinte Mhath, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I could drink this all day.
Oh, that's good. That's really nice.
Yeah. No,
I
fun.
want to see the...
Yeah.
Oh, it's got the skull on it and everything.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. There you go. Lovely surprise.
That's really cool. Thank you, Andrew. This was awesome.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Are we cut? Thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode. You'll find more episodes wherever you get your podcasts, and you'll find the My Favourite Irish video series at irishwhiskeylad.com. That's Irish Whiskey with an E, LAD.com. Until next time, Sláinte Mhath.